It's 1962, and the Americans and Soviets have decided to have a little nuclear staring contest over a tiny island best known for cigars and blokes in military fatigues. Welcome to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, what is Cuba exactly? Well, to Americans, it's basically that annoying neighbour who keeps playing loud music at 3 AM, except the music is communism. And to the Soviets, Cuba is like, yeah, we'll be your rebound fling after that whole Berlin Wall drama. Just park some nukes right here, Daddy Khrushchev. And Cuba? Cuba is the guy who invited two drunk elephants into his studio apartment because he thought it'd be funny. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. So, how did this nonsense all start? America's been obsessed with Cuba for ages. Proper, if I can't have you, no one can energy. They tried to boss them around for decades. Had their little puppet dictator Batista? No, not that one. Fulgencio Batista, like an NPC running on Windows 95. And then in 1959, this guy Fidel Castro shows up. Beard game strong, just completely mogging Batista, and basically says, yeah, so Cuba's not America's little sugar daddy anymore. We're gonna nationalize stuff. Socialism, baby. And America, realizing Cuba was taking away their casinos, fruit companies, and their fun, meant Washington immediately had a meltdown. And Fidel, not giving a single shiny shite, announces he's got a new bestie, Uncle Nikita Khrushchev, the Soviets. At this point, America starts frothing at the mouth, because it's the Cold War, which is basically two insecure blokes measuring their missile sizes. And then, 1961, there's the Bay of Pigs. Oh god, picture this. America trains a bunch of Cuban exiles to invade Cuba, like it's a budget Call of Duty mission. They land, expecting locals to cheer like, yay, liberators, but instead, Cubans are like, who are these Tesco value soldiers? And why are they on our beach? The invasion absolutely flops. Castro looks like a giga-chad defending his island, while America looks like that weird kid in PE who can't climb the rope. So after that, Cuba's like, yeah, Khrushchev, can we get some, let's say, defensive toys? And Khrushchev, with all the subtlety of a drunk uncle at a wedding, ships over some nuclear missiles. Just plonks them right there, 90 miles off of Florida. That's like your ex moving in with your neighbour and leaving their toothbrush at your house just to make you squirm. Enter John F. Kennedy, America's golden boy. Looks like a politician AI generated by Barbie. But anyway, JFK wakes up one morning, gets shown aerial photos of missiles in Cuba, and he's like, bro, absolutely not. This is, giving Armageddon. Suddenly, America goes full main character mode. Now, Britain was watching from the sidelines, presumably with a can of Stella in hand, thinking, well, this all seems a bit daft, doesn't it? Because, let's be real, Cuba's not exactly aiming those rockets at London. We're not even invited to the drama. America, though, America starts acting like the world's strictest hall monitor. JFK goes on telly and announces a quarantine of Cuba, which is just a fancy way of saying, we're doing a sea blockade, but don't call it a blockade because that sounds like war. Absolute semantic gymnastics. So, you've got Soviet ships steaming toward Cuba with missiles, and American warships lining up like it's the season finale of the nuclear reality show Who Wants to Be Vaporized. The entire planet is sitting there refreshing Twitter. Well, newspapers back then, but you get the vibe. Meanwhile, Khrushchev's at home like, do we send the ships through and risk nuclear war? Or do we back off and look like beta males? Real Sigma decisions to make here. Castro, of course, is in Havana writing unhinged letters. Like, Dear Nikita, maybe just nuke America first, lol. Absolute menace energy. Even Khrushchev's like, alright, calm down, Fidel, you're sounding a bit like Joker. And here's the irony. The Americans are fuming about Cuba putting nukes on their border, whilst conveniently forgetting they literally put nukes in Turkey right on the Soviet doorstep. Classic Yank behaviour. Eventually, after about 2 weeks of the world collectively holding its breath, Khrushchev folds. He agrees to take the missiles out of Cuba if America pinky promises not to invade, and JFK broadcasts to the nation like he's just defeated Thanos. But behind closed doors, secret deal. America agrees to remove their missiles from Turkey, but shush, don't tell the history textbooks. So, who won? America struts away going, yeah, we stood up to communism, baby, we're the heroes. Soviets get a bit embarrassed, but they still secured Cuba as a communist ally, which was the real prize. Let's be honest, Cuba comes out looking like the spiciest here. They've got global relevance overnight. Before they were just that place that Hemingway liked. Now, they're the island that almost started World War III. Americans look like overdramatic Karens, Soviets look like sneaky landlords trying to stash nukes in the shed, and Cuba looked like the scrappy lad from the the council estate who suddenly invites the mafia round for drinks. So yeah, thank you Cuba for nearly deleting the planet just to flex. Thank you America for pretending like you didn't have missiles in Turkey, and thank you Soviets for playing hide the missile like it was an Olympic sport. Meanwhile, Britain remains undefeated in drinking tea and quietly judging everyone else's nonsense.